opinions of the staff, management, ownership of the station. Jay and Janine are expressing their own opinions, and such is not a substitute for psychological or mental health advice. If you are experiencing an emergency, please hang up and call 911.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Momentum Mindset Show, where we're talking everything personal development, coaching, health, and the law. I'm your host, Jay, here with co-host Janine.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Please join us on Facebook, where we can be found at the Momentum Mindset Show. And if you want to call in and be part of the show, we would love to hear from you. It's 888-565-1470. And if being on live radio is not your thing, no problem. Send us your comments and we will interact with you on Facebook.
Let's create some momentum.
Well, hello, everybody. Happy Friday. It is the 6 p.m. hour, and we are here on the Momentum Mindset Show. To my left, you are going to see someone who does not resemble Jay Farrow. Instead, he is tall, blonde, and handsome. His name is Chris Burr, and he is our guest. Jay will be joining us in a few minutes or at his first opportunity, and till then, it is Chris and I. So Chris is a guest who we invited onto the show, and he is a friend of ours, and we truly appreciate him. He is a certified financial planner, correct?
Well, not quite. I need to correct you there.
Okay.
There is a distinction.
There is a distinction.
I'm a financial advisor.
Okay.
And I'm a retirement income
Expert?
certified professional.
Got it. Okay, thank you, because we're going to get into the distinctions. I think that would be really educational for people to know about. So as you guys know, here on the Momentum Mindset Show, we talk about life. We talk about everything that goes on. Jay and I are super transparent on here. So usually at this point in the show, we're doing our weekly roundup, but I'm going to save that actually for when Jay gets back so we can kind of talk about how this week has gone for us. On that point, though, I would like to say, from my perspective, that this week has brought an abundance of blessings in many, many different ways, and shown a lot of, shown me that you just never know when you keep on going. So my thing is, Jay likes to say we're stronger together. I like to say keep going. And when you do keep on going, things will show up for you, things that you think may have been one way or the other, surprise you. And, I had a performance on Wednesday. You don't know because I didn't tell anyone, but I had a performance on Wednesday. I'm a singer. And I was really nervous about it because I wasn't crazy about the venue. I wasn't crazy about, I didn't think we'd have microphones. My voice has been bothering me. And I don't know if you know anything about singing, but the voice is a very fickle mistress of an instrument. So if you have a tickle in the throat, it could mean that you can hit the note. It can also mean that there's no way you're hitting the note. It's just one of those things. And the voice is really predicated upon whether, how much sleep you got, are you hydrated, are you not? And it makes a huge difference in the quality of sound. So knowing all of those things, I went into the performance thinking, you know what, I'm here, I'm gonna do it, I made my commitment to do it, and it's not gonna be good, and I'm gonna live with that. It's gonna be okay, it's an experience. I'm here to tell you that I actually made some mistakes because when I went to open my mouth, the sound did not come out the way it was intended to come out. But then it suddenly did, much like life. It doesn't always go exactly the way you want it to, but it will rise to you. It will give so much. And I'm really in that place of an incredible amount of appreciation and gratitude for that, and for those experiences that have really been coming into our space. We are able to help people in the law through the law firm, and yes, we're remunerated for that, and we're super grateful for that aspect as well. And it's incredibly soul satisfying also to be able to marry a profession and a life's purpose. So that's kind of what I want to say about this week, and I'm sure Jay, when he joins us, is going to say all kinds of other things as well. And but I want to get on to you, Chris. I want to know, first of all, please give us the distinctions of what you were saying when you made that correction, and rightly so. Talk to us a little bit about what it is that you do.
I'm excited to be here.
Yes, welcome.
And grateful. The distinctions, it's really confusing to the public, so thanks for even asking that question.
Yeah, we want to know.
You can go online and read things and just even get more confused, like reading legalese and contracts and stuff.
Legalese. There you go.
You do there. I'm a registered investment advisor, or my brother and I own what they call an RIA, Registered Investment Advisory Firm.
Okay.
Technically, I'm an investment advisor representative.
Okay.
And that's distinct from being a broker. So we're advisors who get paid through fees versus getting like paid a commission to make a trade to buy or sell.
Okay.
And you used a word that's protected by the College of Financial Planning, or a phrase called certified financial planner.
Got it.
And that's a certification, not a license, by the College of Financial Planning. So I have to be careful not to call myself that, because I'm not one.
Okay.
But I'm an investment advisor, a financial advisor, and I'm certified as a retirement income certified professional, what they have as an RICP.
Okay.
So that answers that question.
That's interesting. And actually, I've never heard that particular certification spoken of quite in that same way. So where in all of that, where's your passion in all of it? Or is it all of it? Or do you love to work more on the retirement side? How does that go?
I love helping people out with their retirement planning. So long-term investment portfolios.
Got it.
My brother does all the research and the management of the portfolios.
Okay.
And I meet with people and speak with people and email people to answer all the the questions that they have.
Okay.
So ultimately, there's so much noise out there, and it can get very confusing. And it's hey, are you putting money away in the proper places, like IRAs and Roth and 401k? Are you spreading it reasonably? And then people like my mother, who's retired, do you have a distribution plan? Are you taking money out appropriately or in an emergency? Which account would you take it out of?
Got it. So when you start working with someone, what is the number one thing that people are the most, in your experience, people are the most afraid about? Or what is the number one question you get?
I think people are most afraid about change. We know change is usually uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And that's what I've learned is usually where the growth is. And what's discomfort or not comfortable. We use an acronym named like KITE, K-I-T-E, like go fly a kite. And if you don't have the knowledge, interest, time, and emotional fortitude to manage your own money, then you should probably hire someone else who's a fiduciary to do it for you. So to your question, is the I is the one we always see, the interest. Most people aren't interested in managing their own money, but I guess you're interested in making money and having a good investment portfolio over time, but you don't want to read the papers and all the
do all of the research,
and do all that. Even retirees, they have the time, but are they really interested in doing that?
Right.
So that's where our clients, they're not doing it themselves. They want to hire someone, retain our services, and we're honored to help them out.
That's fantastic. So it sounds like fear drives the inquiry, right? Because people don't know where to put their money. They don't know where they're going with things. So I imagine that you get a lot of questions in that vein as well.
Yes, fear and scarcity is more of the mindset than abundance and peace of mind. And we try to get people to be thinking abundantly and be at peace. I was just emailing a longtime client today. I hope he's listening. He said he might be able to chime in. I won't mention his name because I can't do that.
Okay.
But he's a fellow Gator. And he was talking about, am I going to be able to retire in 8 years? Because that's where I'm seeing it happen. And he's worked so hard for so long. And I'm like, you're going to be able to hang up your cleats and retire. And one of my goals is to be able to sit in a hammock on your property and then watch you be happily retired. So it's bringing that peace of mind that he keeps working, keep putting money away in his 60s, and then at 70, he's going to be really happy.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. So you said 70. Are you noticing a trend with people retiring later in life?
Absolutely. I mean, people are living longer. The 60s are definitely changing. They just changed a rule in the budget on December 20th where you're forced to take distributions from an IRA or 401k at 72 now instead of 70.5. So it was always what they called 70 and a half, and it confused people. Like, why do they do these half years?
Yeah.
Congress and their budgets and stuff. But people are living longer, working longer, and some people are working part-time or in new careers at later dates, so they might not have to work, but they're choosing to work.
Got it. Okay. When you approach a client for the first time, actually, our co-host is here. Wait, stop the press. Mr. Farrow has joined us, so we're super excited to come on in and bring his special brand of energy to. He wanted to make his entrance. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, welcome to the show.
Yeah. So we're trying something. We're trying something new here, and I hope everyone at home likes it, or anyone who's watching us on Facebook, which is the wider shot, so that people can see us all together instead of what we had done before. So we'd love to get people's feedback and see what you all think about it. And so now we're just having a conversation among the three of us. So Jay, I was asking Chris some specific questions. I said that maybe after the break or when you arrived, or we'll do it after the break, we'll do our weekly roundup. I want Chris to also chime in on his weekly roundup, what he's experienced this past week. And we'll get that going.
On the other side of this break, right?
Yeah, on the other side of this break.
Farrow Law Firm, standing up to corporate bullies, using innovative, aggressive, and effective strategies to resolve disputes effectively and timely. Contact us at 954-252-9818, online at farrowlawfirm.com, and on Facebook at Farrow Law Firm. We look forward to being of service to you.
You've been listening to the Momentum Mindset Show.
With Jay and Janine, give us a call at 888-565-1470. And now back to the show.
And welcome back to the Momentum Mindset Show. I'm here. Okay.
Jay's here.
Right. No.
Yay.
I was attending to. I was at a car rental place just right down the street. So I was playing musical cars today with my girlfriend, who's starting a third part of a personal development program this weekend. Very proud of her, and it's something that we've done. All three of us.
All three of us have done it.
Have done this work. So we
we're
know
graduates.
what this weekend of first weekend of ML is all about. So it's been an interesting week for me. I mean, we're gonna do our little weekly roundup, right?
Yep.
Okay. Well,
That's
there's been. Things are going well. Would you say we're practicing partnership?
We are. We're getting in. We are, and it's been a really nice space. What do we mean by that, Chris? You're like, wait, I thought you were partners this whole time. And we have been. But we were fudging our way through it, I think. It wasn't necessarily intentional. And now we're adding some intentionality to it and working on our communication.
One of the things that we realize
right?
is that we're business partners. And to be a business partner, you have to practice partnership. And it's one of the things that, we've done a lot of work together and to create our business. And over the last year and a half, transformed our businesses, started a couple of businesses, and one of which is the Momentum Show, the Momentum program, and we work in the law firm together as well. And one of the things that we looked at each other and say, what's coming up and what's not working, and it's like, well, what do we do? What is the physical evidence, a manifestation of our partnership? I mean, what could we point to say, you're partners? And I know this happens with a lot of the entrepreneurs out there that write into the show. Is how do you create the relationship, maintain the relationship of partnership? And we're like, well, we're not even having partnership meetings.
Yeah.
Because we have clients, and we support them in creating the legal architecture for they create the legal architecture for their businesses. But at the same time, it's like, what do you do to create and maintain a healthy balance between two people when they're trying to create abundance. And so we decided, wait, we got to take a look at that. And what we recognize is that we weren't having partnership meetings, which we are now.
Yes.
When we made some decisions, I was making decisions right off the cuff with regards to paying for an expense. Or
I like to call them unilateral decisions.
So, okay. I was calling them, well thought out, good decisions because
I didn't say that they were good or bad. I was just saying they were unilateral.
So, but it led to a strain on the partnership relationship because we weren't communicating as partners or even thinking about that. I mean, running around with your like a chicken with your head cut off isn't necessarily a partnership. You can do a lot of stuff but not get anything done.
Yes.
And so.
So that's the aspect of intentionality that we're bringing to it. And it occurs to us that there's so many ingredients that are right. The tendency is always to focus on what's wrong, but there's an alchemy that's right. It's right for partnership, it's right for friendship, it's right for creation. So how do we feed that in a way that's actually effective? And that's what we're learning, that's what we're practicing. And it's great because I think it opens you up to a possibility. Sometimes you hit a wall and you are like, okay, well, there's just nowhere to go. Well, there's always somewhere to go. And momentum mindset, and which is what we are all about, we're applying that to the partnership as well. What are we missing? What are we not seeing? And it's not necessarily what are we not doing, but what are we not allowing to occur, and what could we be allowing to occur? And that is more effective communication. It takes time. We have habits. Mm-hmm. We have habits of being. So, for example, none of it is bad and wrong because, I think as a woman, or the way that I was maybe raised or whatever, it doesn't occur to me, like Jay knows, I don't really make a lot of decisions without him. I won't stop for him once we've made a decision. So like if he can't make a meeting, the meeting goes on. Because I know we have a vision that is...
Hence the show today.
Right, hence the show today. So I know we have the vision. But I don't generally make decisions that I know will affect either the partnership, the money that's made in the partnership, or anything like that, because I'm aware that we're two, not one, and those two feed two more. So I'm very aware of that. But he was a solo practitioner. You've been for many, many years, so there was only just...
momentum there.
I was going to say, there was only just the one, you know what I'm saying? So it takes practice. Mm-hmm. It takes practice. I'm cognizant of that. I'm willing to work with that and, willing to grow, because there's growth in it for both of us. That's what I'm all about.
Well, I mean, it takes a little bit of
Jay's like, yes, I am.
A little bit of patience. So what I love about what we do here, and especially in this segment, Chris, is just that we just lay it out there. I mean, because the law practice has transformed from we were doing a year and a half ago, mostly foreclosure defense, and now, I mean, I had the experience in the area of practice that we're in now, but when we decided that, look, we need to pick a lane. We really want to go after something special. We found this area of practice to, stick up against the bully in your life, and we tossed around that concept for a while, and now it's like bully the bullies.
Bully the bullies.
Stand up for the person that is struggling to find their voice, and it's awesome. And this. What we're talking about right now, what we're doing on the show, is really where we started. What started for me was an awareness of how I operate. Was the awareness in that program where I met you, and allowing myself to get out of my own way through that awareness, and then now practicing that same concept while you're working in partnership with somebody. So this is what we've done on the show, and it's been messy. And as some of the listeners that have been with us for some time, and God knows our producers, on a weekly basis don't know what to expect. So
We are literally a box of chocolates.
You know, and so then what we also do is we bring guests onto the show like yourself to talk about what they're up to in their life, their personal journey of transformation, as well as, you know, what you're up to in your life. Because I know that we had that dinner at the Tower Club not too long ago, and you're sharing with me, you know, what your business is all about, and creating an abundance and security for people as they go through their lives, because it's something that I've stayed away from. Is actually planning for my future, and it's not an accident that you're sitting here right now, because part of the thing that came up for me this week is that I sat down with my parents yesterday for lunch, and I told them that things are going really well in my relationship, and I'm thinking about the future. And my dad was like, "What are you talking about? What future are you talking? What are you referring to?" Kind of thing. Like, you know, don't you know, like, all of the stuff that you've done. My dad is very, very proud of me, and he came to my office today, and he was really, we had a heart to heart. But one of the things he's always wanted from me is to talk to someone like you and to get clear about how do I create something that's sustainable, that I can have something when I'm, you know, to fall back on, to create abundance and to keep it. Because his says that, Mike, you know, my business model of it's there and it's all available to use has not supported me. And so I was, you know, I you know, I'm glad that you're on the show, because, you know, and if I know my dad's watching, because I promised him that I'd be up to, you know, talking about just this. How do you create the conversation with somebody like me, who, you know, I say that I play all out, you know, and I invest everything that I have into myself, and that there's nothing left over for right now, for what my dad would consider to be like
a rainy day fund.
A rainy day fund. Because if my dad found out that I had a 401k, I think that the man, I'm concerned, because he thinks, you know.
I know. Actually, Steve, he's saving your life, because you could have a cardiac event. So, you know.
And one of my stories was, I'm not going to play life that way. I'm going to play it all out on the edge. You know, I'm not going to know where it's coming in tomorrow. And you know what? Sometimes it doesn't come in tomorrow, you know. And so talking to someone like you, okay, so we've done BNI, which is Business Networking International, and the one person that I kind of like, my chair was always away from as we're eating breakfast, was the financial asset manager, money manager. So what are some of the things that you do to enroll someone like me? Because, you know, I was listening to you. I mean, what you're saying makes sense, but it's also this shift in mindset, because just like practicing partnership, I got to start practicing the art of investing in myself. So what is that like? What is some of the things that you know that you would do to enroll, or that you do to your current clients, to just get them into that mindset of why you should be doing this?
Well, I'll begin with, I'm here because I'm really proud of you.
Right.
You know, for standing up for people who need representation, and what you express, you know, on Facebook and to me personally has inspired me. And if you didn't do that, I probably wouldn't have been here, and we might not have developed our friendship. So seeing what you stand for does matter, and people need help. And that's why I see in my seat, people need support.
Yes.
People are good at what they do. We have a lot of extremely intelligent clients, but they're hiring us to do the things they don't want to do, like paperwork, like setting up the 401k, like choosing how much to put into it, to spreading the money in the investments. And ultimately, you need to see yourself as worthy of it.
See, that's what that's right there.
Always goes back to the worthiness conversation.
It does.
Always.
I agree.
Like,
I agree.
could talk for a long time on that, but
Right.
yes, you are worthy, and are you going to accept that? Most of our clients are more like Janine than you, so I don't know if I can handle too many of you. But
Okay, say more. Actually, what do you mean?
I mean, they trust us, and they pay us to take care of things, and they listen and they do it, and they can let us go at any time. They're retaining our services for you know, the indefinite future. It's not a transaction or for a couple of weeks or a month or two or a case. It's the rest of their lives. So, you know, I have a phrase like set targets and then, you know, pay yourself first. So we talk about intention and what's your intention, which is 90+% of it. But then you got to pay yourself first. 401k is designed perfectly for that. The money flows to your, you know, through your payroll into your personal account that's there for your retirement years.
Right.
So before you see the money hit your checking account or you really get paid, you've already paid your future self. So that's why a 401k is extremely popular in the country, and That's why there's trillions of dollars in it. So.
Well, that's, you know what's powerful, what you said is about this worthiness conversation, and it really flows from that. Not, I don't know how to say this, I have developed self-worth only in the last, let's say, few years, where I've noticed where that I have lived my life from that edge, from all the stories that created the unworthiness, and I called it untreated unworthiness that led to the places that I went in my life. Even starting the conversation about the future for me is like, who, me? Do I belong there?
Well, I was going to say maybe it comes from, and now that we're super transparent on the show anyway, I'm not sure you ever thought that there was a future.
That's true.
So I think that you get to start really sort of basic. Where did you come from? What was your mindset going, that for a very, very long time, let's say 20 years, you weren't sure you were going to be 44. You weren't sure you were going to be 45. And I think that plays a part, and we can't ignore those things. So I want to get into that because I know that Jay's certainly not the only one who feels that way for different reasons. People have a different aspect on what it is. You've got your natural savers. I have a niece she's 18 years old. She refuses to spend her own money. Thank God she's sponsored by her parents. But she is she's extremely set on her savings goals. Cool. And she literally won't buy me a large coffee when she could buy me a medium coffee because she hates to use her own money. I don't know where you got that, babe, but okay, we'll talk about it later. Anyway, we have the opposite problem. We're like generous to a fault. I will literally give you the shirt off my back, my last dollar, my last penny, et cetera, et cetera. And in my case, people will give that to me too. So it's like a reciprocal thing. But perspective, right? A lot of people have different worthiness conversations. It comes from a different place. So how do you handle something like that with clients?
I'm more basic, fundamental. I understand the things you said about the paperwork and everything. Even getting to the paperwork, when you're sitting with somebody like me, what is the things that come up for you? What are some of the questions?
Yeah.
With people that don't know, because for me, I wouldn't even know where to start, which is one of the issues. It's I don't even want to know what I don't know, because then I don't want more pain, is what I'm saying. I don't want to know how bad the circumstances are, or the fact that I'm 44 years old and I'm about to start this process, and because my dad has been talking to me about this for many, many years, it's I have all the blame, shame, all that other stuff about why I didn't do it before. So it's easier not to do it today, so that way tomorrow will be less painful, because he who increases knowledge increases sorrow, kind of thing. But what are some of the things?
That is so. What horrible pessimist said that?
It's in the Bible.
Oh, good Lord. Stop blaming the Bible for that nonsense. This is things that are disseminated, but that is a limiting belief, for example.
I get it.
That is okay. So back to you, Chris. Okay. How do you handle limiting beliefs? Because it's not only worthiness. It's things like that. Never heard it before. Want to unhear it. Go ahead.
Always thinking the mindset of, so what, now what? Right. I'm meeting with a fella next Wednesday at 7:30 who was referred to us, and he's going through divorce, wants to know how to divide up the assets, given some of its retirement accounts, and there's taxes, and then he got sent a letter by the IRS from an old foreclosure that he owes taxes on, and he's in shock right now. And we can't go back in time and change his past, just like yours. So how old are you now? 44. Well, you can't be 39 again or 42, but you can be here right now. And what are we going to do about it? Are we going to never put money away for your future? Or are we going to have a rainy day fund that maybe you get your hands on, but another one like 401k, IRA, you really don't think you're going to touch for 20 years? And we're going to simplify it and go, the past is the past. We can learn from it. So let's study history, but let's not dwell in the past. So we have to get to that point where you then kind of capitulate and be like, Chris, you take care of this, and then I'm going to set up the accounts and do the paperwork. You're going to give me your social security number, your date of birth, and all that stuff. We're going to set up the right accounts, and we're going to make those problems go away.
You got it.
I have a theory, though. Do you ever read The Richest Man in Babylon?
Yes. Okay,
so there's this. The thought is this, and for those of you who haven't read the book, it's on Audible. It's a phenomenal book. But the first rule that you have to read the book, and I don't want to be a spoiler, but the first rule to fatten your purse, as the guy calls it, is is to put 10% of whatever you bring in away, period. And then eventually he tells you what to do with that 10%. But what ends up happening is, I think that there's an inflow, outflow. Like if you're willing to do that for yourself, even though in the short term it might appear that I'm not having as much money in my account.
Sure. Can't afford to do it.
I can't afford to do it. Stuff comes up. It's like, hey, I'm playing all in. I'm going to play all out. I'm going to take every single dime and keep rolling the dice and keep betting. I'll keep betting. Every single round. Like I'm not taking a break.
Or I got to pay down every debt, and I can't build an asset until then. It's like,
right.
No, you can do both.
Yes.
At the same time.
I think you know what we're identifying here are things that people that have that either or concept. To me, I'm thinking about right now what I'm what I'm thinking about a lot in life and in the business is what can we be doing in tandem? Mm-hmm. I believe very much in that and. I haven't been playing and. I have been either or because that's the way I was raised also. So I'm always sort of bumping up against that limiting belief. But I really do believe what you're saying. You can build wealth and pay down debt. They don't have to be mutually exclusive. You can have both.
And it's the same thing would come up. Well, it's right there. It just jumped right into me. It's like how? Like how is that? How is that possible?
The how cow.
I mean, we've talked about the power of belief.
And I get it, and I think that having some support to be able to pick up the phone and ask the question, because if I don't know something and I have a fear about it, it's also that I'm going to look dumb.
Right.
And for me to be saying this on the air, it's like into the rest of the world about I had this conversation with my dad yesterday talking about some important stuff.
Stones, man, God bless you.
You're
amazing.
But for my dad, what I'm saying is I can't be the only one that's afraid of setting something up.
You're not alone.
Oh my gosh.
Because some people have. I'm not gonna call it a skill, but I think that some people like in some homes like the conversations about, let's say, love, sex, drugs, alcohol is a lot more open than a lot of others. And in those particular homes, someone has someone to talk to and to go to without being blamed, shamed, and slapped around for it you didn't do it yesterday conversation. The I didn't do it yesterday stick, from those in power and authority, or my dad or my mom or something like that. Like, you didn't do it yesterday. And that stick of that.
Yeah, we don't believe you're going to do it now.
It's something
then.
that is something that I don't mind entering the conversation, but I'm afraid of that stick, even though you don't have it, and that's one of the things that, and this is not just for wealth, and it's just going to the gym. This relates to every part of the transformational journey. We just have to be talking about this in this context. Right.
So this is one of the great things about having you on the show, Chris, and finances, like all of the other spectrums in life, is a part of our life, and the way we do finances is really telling about a lot of things. That being said, there are a lot of people who do finances really, really well, and the rest of their lives crumble apart. And there are people who manage somehow, some way, through dedication and time awareness or whatever it is that it takes for them, to really put all of their hands in all of the buckets and really do well with all of it, because they do have that level of self-worth or whatever it takes. I don't want to put words in their mouth, but from the outside looking in, that's what I would say. But it is humbling to ask for help. So in the business, we're taking on a lot of initiatives, and part of my it's not even a goal, it's an actual shift in life, is to make sure that our finances in the business are super on point, to fund the business in earnest and integrity, and always have plenty to meet our obligations, and to, finally give salaries to Jay and I, and do all of the things that we need to do for the creation of abundance in our lives, and to really fund our dreams, because we work that hard. That's the least that we. So I also called somebody who works with businesses exclusively, because I've been getting the nudge, my inner voice saying, "You've got this. You've so got it." The next step is ask for help. And I was hesitant. Someone had helped, a friend of mine who has an MBA was going to help me, blah, blah, blah. But I kept on falling off of that, and he's busy and that and that. And then I finally said, no, There's nothing getting in my way. And just like I said, I discussed it with Jay. He wasn't available for the meeting, but we're not stopping. We're still going. And he'll make the next meeting, but we're still going, because even though it twists my stomach, like when he told me all of the information he needed, I was like, I was like, oh God, where's the paper bag? I was hyperventilating. I was like, what do you mean you want 3 years of bank statements? And I told him, I'd rather get naked right now. I mean, I won't, because you're my very close friend's boyfriend, but I would rather. And it's funny because most people would rather do that than talk about money. Mm-hmm. And I'm willing to do anything because it requires, that's what it's required.
That's where the
to
growth
get
is.
to the next level. And I got that next level in my sights.
So I want to talk about the initial starts. Let's say that from the ground level, building a foundation, and let's talk about that when we get back on the other side of this break from the only commercial on the show, which is
Farrow Law Firm.
Farrow Law Firm, standing up to corporate bullies, using innovative, aggressive, and effective strategies to resolve disputes effectively and timely. Contact us at 954-252-9818, online at farrowlawfirm.com, and on Facebook at Farrow Law Firm. We look forward to being of service to you.
You've been listening to the Momentum Mindset Show
With Jay and Janine. Give us a call at 888-565-1470. And now back to the show.
And welcome back to the Momentum Mindset Show. It is getting late into January.
It is. And for those of us who may be joining us now, we have a very special guest with us today, Chris Burr. He is a finance whiz, and we are talking about finances and the stumbling blocks. Some people are really good at it. Some people are, hey, Chris, here's my money. Let's talk investments, blah, 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 blah. And some people are like, oh, my God, he's calling. I don't know what to do. I don't have enough money. You know, all of those things. So I'm sure you deal with all different kinds, right?
Absolutely. I mean, what you were saying before was ringing a bell on, hey, who we share our time with and surround ourselves with matters. Mm-hmm. And boy, it's like a universal truth to me, or key to the universe. So our clients, you know, steady returns clients choose us. We have a tagline, a couple of them, and one's everyone deserves great financial advice, and another one's just call Chris. So we have client who someone went online for like an hour and I couldn't find this form and I couldn't download it to add this, you know, beneficiary to my account. And my brother's like, oh, why didn't you just call Chris? And it's like, you're paying us to make these problems go away, because the beneficiary is an important thing to have. Yes. You know, sometimes you can have the greatest investments, but if they're not going to the right place when you pass on, what really was the rate of return? You know, what was the intention of that account? So go back to your original question.
The original question is, you have all kinds, people who were more financially well-versed.
Sure.
And then let's take Jay as an example. What is an interaction with someone, Jay? Not
say
Jay,
interaction,
but
or do you say intervention?
Either or. We can look at it any way you want. But we've got to start somewhere, right?
I mean, I always look at how much do you want to know? I mean, do you want to know that the Dow Jones Industrial Averages are close to 29,000, or that, you know, the 10-year Treasuries?
I have a saying.
What's that?
I don't want to know why.
Suddenly he's a simple man.
I don't want to know why it works or how it works, just that it works. Period. End of story.
You're hired.
That's it.
Yes.
No, that comes up. So how much do you want to meet? How much do you want to talk about your account? How much do you want to know? Many of our clients don't want to know much. One is very funny. He's retired, and he said, Chris, once a year, tell me how much is in the account, other than I just want to have lunch. He doesn't want to know what an interest rate is, a treasury rate, or the stock market, but he wants his portfolio to grow. He put away money his whole career. He wants it to grow into his 70s and in his 60s now. Mm. He wants to know how much to withdraw and what to do, and some simple questions answered. But that works for him. Other people want to talk a little bit about the market, or, you know, what's going on with trade negotiations. So we all have different interest levels.
Yeah.
And it's my job to figure that out. And then you tell me what you just said, and we're not going to get too much into the details because you don't need to know them. We have other things to talk about.
Yeah, I just my basic thing is that, a place that there's going to be, like, I put the money in, and then later down the line, there's going to be more money than when I put it in. Because it's not, for me, how much is there, so much as that I'm actually doing it that matters. And I think that for me, psychologically, that if it's happening and I'm making a conscious effort to do it, it says it's a physical, outside, evidentiary manifestation of a self-worth conversation. Okay,
Nice.
and that to me is the most valuable piece of the whole thing, is the fact that I'm actually doing it. And yeah, if it's a rainy day and I'm like, and I happen to have like this thing that there's, money, then great.
Yeah. There's something to that. I hear a lot of really amazing stories about just simple savings tactics. And for example, I worked with a whole bunch of Israelis, and in our industry at the time, there's a lot of cash going around. So a friend of, there's a question for Chris. When is a good time to save for retirement? Oh, that is a very good
Now.
Now, okay.
Always
I like that.
pay yourself first.
Okay.
What I was thinking of before is see a lot of people in their 20s and 30s get all caught up in what the stock market's doing and interest rates and what happened last year. It's really all about building up your principal. And then when you're retired, let's say you're 70 and you're pulling an income to supplement Social Security and pension or any other income you have, then the interest matters because you're not putting money away. So building up your principal is critical. Start next
more
week
about
or
that.
now if you can.
Say more about that principle. What do you when you say that? What does that even mean to people out there?
Putting away your own money. So some companies,
So savings?
saving money one way or another, whether it's putting a piggy bank, a bank account,
Okay.
a 401k,
Okay.
an IRA, some systematic place where your money is going, where you're unlikely to spend it, and
Okay.
then having a strategy to it so it fits your long-term objectives. And maybe
Awesome.
you're saving for a down payment in 2 years for a house.
Yeah.
That's a different portfolio than saving for 20 years from now when
Got
you're
it.
retired.
Got it. Well, I was just going to go into a very simple savings. So in this industry, they had a lot of cash. And my friend said that he had one of those 5-gallon from the water thing, and he would put change in it. Every now and then he'd put a few bills in it. Every now and then he'd put like 20s in it. Lo and behold, after a year, he had like $8,500 in that little change thing. So he went on a fabulous vacation. And it was a slush fund. He didn't miss the money.
Mm-hmm.
It was just growing there. He has other investments in different ways that he saves, but that was one way. But it was beautiful. Like when he told me that, I was like, wow, that's shocking. And what a good idea. So there are so many different ways to make it less painful.
Because you never miss the money. I don't think
Right.
I think that that's true. I don't think that I'd ever miss it if I put away, let's say, I don't know, $500 a week.
Yeah.
And
Let's make $500 a
Well-
week first. No, I'm just kidding. Let's pay ourselves that a week. I'm kidding.
it's because you get hijacked, right?
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
we have so the law firm, for example, went from, let's say, I think 17,000 ish in monthly expenses. Now we're about 50,000 in a year and a half's time.
40 something, yeah.
Okay, and so that changes the mindset, changes the conversation. And when we're playing the way that we're playing with the types of cases that we're playing with, we're doing all right. It's just when we think about, we could use this money to invest into this. There's an expert witness that we could now bring on board, and now I'm working with a couple of ex-federal prosecutors, for example, and some ex-CIA guys, and they're experts. And then sometimes they're out in their field and they're doing their investigations. So it's like, my mind is like, okay, I got $5,000 for this, or then if I take $500 away from it, that hijack of let's play. It's a gambling, almost like thought. Even though, for me, it's a safe gamble. I'm gambling myself. I'm gambling on my cases. I'm because it's a strategic
we are betting
gamble.
on ourselves.
I mean,
that's true.
But at the same time, there's no outward evidentiary manifestation of a self-worth conversation, and that's what I'm talking about.
Well, it's interesting that you say, so what would you advise in a case like this in the world of and instead of either or? What could, in that scenario, what would you suggest in a thing? How do you mitigate something like that where you have those sort of, and you can say personally, not as financial actual advice. Like when you look at a situation like that, what do you think about it personally?
And while you're answering that, there's another, you can, in tandem, this is from Tamara. How do you know what product to invest in, particularly with a 401k?
Wow.
I was going to say, whoa.
Big question. Definitely don't quite have time for that, but happy to help you out, Tamara. There's so many different investments available in different 401k plans, from small companies to large companies that we'd have to take a look at it. Some 401ks are very inexpensive. Some are very expensive. Some you can pick individual stocks. Some have ETFs or, index mutual funds and low cost. So I really need more information, but you come to Steady Returns and we'll help you sift through it.
Nice. And at the end of the show, you're going to give all of your information. We're going to put it on our page and all that stuff. Right. So that would be fantastic. But so, what would you advise us?
Well, life isn't, I was just sharing this with a client just over a week ago who's getting close to retirement. And it's not always a math problem. And Dave Ramsey talks about it with putting away debts, where sometimes you pay off a debt that's smaller, even though it has a smaller interest rate. And it's like, why would I do that when I have a higher interest loan? Well, it's to win. To knock out a payment, knock out a debt, and to move on to the next one and to get a feeling like I'm actually accomplishing something, versus then you get sabotaged by some new bill and you can't then get rid of a debt. So paying off sometimes the smallest debt first to get it out of the way and get that feeling that it feels good.
Yep.
And then having a piggy bank or a rainy day fund that if life is a math problem, it's calculus, because there's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of variables.
Right.
So you definitely find systematic ways to take the emotions out of it, to put money, towards knocking down and knocking away unnecessary debt, but also building up assets like home equity where you have a mortgage and 401k and other things.
It's the easiest way to create momentum in this is to do something like a 401k where I don't have to think about it. It just comes out of the weekly paycheck. Or an IRA or something along those lines. And then how often do someone like me, speak to someone like you? Because it's like, or meet. I mean, how arduous of a process is it? I mean, and I know that we'll be meeting after the show when we'll be talking about it. But I'm just saying, for our listeners' sake, how much time do you put into someone like me at the beginning? Is it like a weekly thing, a monthly thing? Is there almost like coaching?
Absolutely. As much as it really takes. Oftentimes I meet with people when we first get to know each other, like four times a year, quarterly. Some people, we're talking between then.
Right.
As people move on, a lot of times they don't need a quarterly review. But for you, you have a savings account that's connected to your checking account that is building up like a piggy bank. And our agreement is not to touch it, but to have that build up. And that's liquid cash that you can get your hands on, but we're going to play the game where you're not going to touch that, but it's short-term type of money. And then the long-term money, yes, paying yourself first through a 401k or IRAs where you have direct deposits coming out of your paycheck or checking account and going towards your future self.
I know that lawyers, especially lawyers that we do work that's like flat rate plus contingency, and we have a number of cases right now that, our law firm now I think is over $120 million in filed claims. And we're little by slowly, getting to a point of resolving a number of these cases.
Yeah.
So the question is, then it's like my conversation's always been, when I get the
big win,
the bigger wins, then I'll be okay, and then I'll be. It's the when I have, then I will do, which is call you, and I will be financially secure.
Yeah.
And I know from other work that we've done that that's not the equation.
Well, I honor you where you're growing a firm from, like you said, a year and a half ago, your monthly expenses were 17, and now they're pushing $50,000 a year. So a month. So you're in growth mode, which is different than you've been doing this for 10, 20 years in the same specialty. So you're going to be in a much better, different place. I call it better, but enjoy this growth spurt that's uncomfortable. and and you're gonna have your ups and downs and keep venting out the frustrating parts. But this is so many small businesses go through these struggles. I know I did, where we got started, we had 0 clients and $0 under management, and it's a different place than we are now. But you got to start somewhere. So I think you're applying your time and your resources accordingly. And you can add a little savings account and a 401k. Maybe you're putting 1% of your money in the 401k, but you're actually have a 401k.
Yeah.
That's right there. That's it. That's all you need
That's
to know.
it.
It's
Yep.
like that the fact that it's happening creates a lot of other conversations about that, and it's just to say that out loud and it being true. I've started. I didn't wait. I didn't beat myself up with the stick, and I actually have cared about myself enough to put the 1% away. Because
Right.
yesterday I wasn't doing that. Even though the conversation is I'm playing all out. We have the money that's coming in that we're feeding these investigations. We're getting better at our workflows, at our
Strategies,
at our relationships with
Yep.
I mean, we have relationships around the world now. I mean, it's like
Yep.
it's amazing what's been created, and
In a very short period
in a
of
very
time.
short period of time. So I want to be I want to caution, but that laugh that we just had, a second ago.
I hit a string.
Now this show has been great therapy. If anybody else there, if you want to start a business and do the kind of things that Janine and I have been doing for like the last year and a half,
Have an outlet.
get a show. I mean, because it really allows you to just do it as public as possible. Because I'm sure that there's some people out there that are appreciating that.
Sure.
Oh my God, I feel so much better after I watched those two idiots.
People can relate.
It's
Struggling.
Yeah,
It's-
yeah.
So, but it's time. It's time to have the conversations. And one of the things that
The uncomfortable conversations.
one of the things my dad told me when I was very young is that he used to smoke cigarettes. And when the day he found out that my mom was pregnant with me, he threw the box of cigarettes outside the car and he never smoked another cigarette again. Because he had a new mindset. It had something that created the possibility, not just the possibility, but for him, the need to step into a new level, a new beingness, and that being a husband and a father that's going to be there, and as he has been, for his kids in a healthy way.
Yeah.
And I said that to him the other day. I said, Dad, if I'm looking to have a future and have a family, you did it, and you did it in a moment's notice. And this is like picking up the phone and just getting that phone, turning on the light. I don't imagine. I know it's like apples and oranges, but it's really not. It's like flipping on a light, saying, I'm choosing this way, and it's a signal to the universe that I'm up to my life in a powerful way. Even 1%. I mean, I can feel that. I can handle that 1%. Investing in myself, and that already something feels better. And it really, that thing you just said a second ago about paying off a smaller debt, even though it's a lower interest rate.
Well, it's interesting because we have been, I handle that portion of the business, as I said, and this is like job one, to really be a fiduciary in that capacity, to really make sure. And that's what I've been doing. Like the other day we paid off something and I did a happy dance because, we've got a ways to go, but I did a happy dance because I'm like, phew, if I can do that, what's next? What's possible? And it actually energized me. And it's something that's really, I love it. I'm starting to be less afraid and more eager to learn.
And my life feels balanced. I mean, what I think about my skill set as a lawyer, I mean, I really think that I'm good at what I do. But just like solving a Rubik's Cube on one side, I have other parts of my life that just like this, it's like I got to shed some light on. And that makes sense to become a more fulfilled, complete.
Sure, absolutely. But in speaking into that, you do business with your brother. So what kind of what is partnership like for you in your business?
Probably the biggest compliment I ever got was my brother saying he would have no interest being 50% partners with anybody except me.
Wow.
So,
that's fantastic.
because you do give up control, and you do need to empathize with your partner and see life from a different perspective.
Yeah.
So I'm honored to have him. We complement and supplement each other.
Nice.
He's introverted, I'm extroverted, and he does the research and manages portfolios. I can't do what he does all day long, and he can't be out in the world seeing as many people as I do. So it really
that's a good
works, and we
compliment,
enjoy
yeah.
it, and we have each other's backs.
So how can people get a hold of you?
Fantastic.
Because
Yes.
we have just a
Tell
minute
us.
left.
Okay, you can go through our website, which is www.steady-hustle.com. steady-returns.com. Steady-returns.com. You can call me directly at 561-400-5970 or email me at chris@steady-returns.com. We're here to help people. It doesn't really matter how much money you have. If you want a future that's different, feel free to give me a call or an email, and let's sit down and talk about your situation and get you to where you want to go.
Well,
Fantastic. And again, I just want to say something regarding Chris too. For those of you who are interested also, Chris applies the tenets. He has the distinction of mindset. He's really caring about people. It's not just, your life is not a math problem. I love that you said that. It's not just about arithmetic.
On the show, and thank you for joining us, and we will see you here.
Have a great weekend, everybody.
Next week. Have a great weekend.
Bye.
Thanks. Thank you for listening to the Momentum Mindset Show. For your hosts, Jay and Janine, we'll see you here next week. Thank you for being real, authentic, and honest.
If you'd like to reach us, please contact us on our Facebook page, The Momentum Mindset Show, or on our office phone line, which is 954-559-6987.
We are stronger together.
And remember, keep going.
Homeowners, would you like to save money each and every month? Of course you would. We all want to